guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Stream Squad. So if it's your first time tuning in, I'm Angela.
And I am Dan.
And we've got a special treat for you guys today.
Yeah, and a lot more work for me apparently while we're switching.
Yeah.
We have two new people, two new Switcher team members.
The Switcher team is growing.
You can see right here we have Jeremiah over here and Jimmy over here. Say hey, guys.
What's up?
Hey.
How's it going?
I guess I got one-ups of these people too. Jimmy, what are you gonna do? What are you doing with us?
What am I doing here?
What's your background?
What am I doing here? I don't know. Some of you may have seen me actually in sneaking into some promotional materials.
Or at least recognize his voice, right?
Yeah, maybe. I've done some voiceover work for some different videos, and I've also kind of scripted and produced some videos along with these fine folks. But I'm going to be doing that full time here now, so all my videos are now for Switcher.
Yeah, Jimmy helped to do the production. If you see the video on our homepage, that was Jimmy doing that. We're happy to have him on full time, doing a lot more production stuff. He's also probably going to be hopping into the user group some too as well, and he has a wealth of knowledge on audio. You actually have, is it a master's?
I do have a master's degree in music technology, so I know a thing or two about some audio.
So you don't have to hear my crummy explanations of TRS versus TRRS and stuff anymore. We actually have a guy who knows what he's talking about.
You'll get to listen to me.
And then on our other side over here, we have good old Jeremiah.
Hey, I'm a software developer.
Yeah, so we have, you might remember Ernesto's been on a couple times, and we've talked about some of our lead developers, Gabe and Matt. Well, Jeremiah over here is our newest member of the team. He's going to be working a lot more on the dashboard side of things, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
So the integrations with Facebook and YouTube.
Web API stuff.
Web API, so just making Switcher, I guess, easier to use for everybody, right?
Yep.
So we're really happy to have Jeremiah in here as well. I'm sure he can answer some. You'll be probably hopping into the user group as well at some point, and
Probably.
can answer some of those back-end questions. A lot of work on the dashboard, which I absolutely love. So yes, welcome everybody. And I guess with that, we should probably just hop right on into our normally planned program, and we'll have these guys here as well. They can probably field a few questions if you have them, or chime in as we start talking. But I'm going to go ahead and let Angela take it from here.
Yeah, so we're going to kick things off as usual with our industry news section. Normally we start this off with Facebook or YouTube. Today we're going to change it up a little bit and talk about Twitter. So it was announced last week that Twitter is now entering the youth sports streaming squad. So what they're going to be doing is kind of similar to ESPN. They're going to be showing high school basketball games. And what their focus is going to be is not just to show regular hometown games. I know the platform The Cube is normally known for that, but Twitter's going to be focusing on the new up-and-coming players that are high picks for the NBA drafts and college drafts. So they're going to be starting this, I think this Thursday. Tomorrow is going to be their first one. They've got a deal with Gatorade, and that's how they're doing this. And together you can track this using the hashtag #TheDebut. So if you're on Twitter, search for the hashtag #TheDebut, and you'll get to see what Twitter and Gatorade are going to be up to, who they're going to be featuring, and when they're going to be streaming next. But you know, with everything going on with Facebook and YouTube and even recently Twitch, it's nice to see Twitter as a platform kind of hopping into the game as well.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where we talk about how Facebook's trying to be the new place to watch gaming, and YouTube is doing YouTube things, and Twitch is doing YouTube things now, and Twitter's doing more of the video thing.
Yeah.
So
they've kind of got the audience though with something that's not normally being taken up or promoted. It's like the high school. Who's the next big high school player that's going to go into college? So it's kind of like an opportunistic thing. They're partnering with Gatorade with it, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be a long-lasting kind of endeavor on there. And it's like, hey, we can stream stuff too, and we're going to choose this. So what's the next thing that they're going to jump on and say, we're going to stream this event,
Right. Yeah, I like the the whole idea behind high school sports. I know, like way back in the day, we thought that was one of the big markets for Switcher Studio, where everyone's already has these devices everywhere, and we were going to radio stations and whatnot where they already have these professional audio guys doing commentary on the games for radio. It's like, why not add that to a live video and have a really powerful live video to go along with it? So, yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, I know one thing, just to kind of wrap that topic up of, what they said kind of made them think of this, is how Twitter's been having a lot of full live broadcasts that are streaming. I know there was one for the Grammys, there was one for the Golden Globes, and these have helped for, all kinds of people who don't have a cable subscription or even a TV to still be able to keep up with everything. And with having, this on Twitter, people who would watch ESPN and kind of get those views, now they're going to have that option. And, as we said, something that no one else has done. So Twitter is going to be the one to kind of capitalize on this. And it's interesting to see as, basketball season comes to a close in the spring, if they're going to take this to other sports somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we weren't really planning on talking about it. There was kind of breaking news. It was kind of rumored last week, or I guess earlier this week, but broke today. Is that right? The
VidCon news.
Yeah.
So this is hot off the presses. We just found out about this. But you guys might know of VidCon. It's a big conference for video creators that was started by Hank and John Green, who are two huge vloggers, in 2010. It's normally held in Anaheim in the summer. They have just been bought by Viacom. So Viacom is now going to be helping out with VidCon, and that's going to open a lot of doors for what's going to happen with VidCon from here on out.
Yeah, I remember being there last year and just seeing Viacom had a big presence. They had the huge Nickelodeon booth and some other things, and we're sponsoring some of the stages, so it's an interesting move, and it'll be cool to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, there'll probably be more information coming out over the next week, so most likely we're going to have a nice little segment about that in next week's Stream Squad, so definitely stay tuned, and we'll keep you guys up to date with what happens with VidCon and Viacom.
Yeah. See a lot of awesome people in the comments, a lot of familiar names. I see Dominic's here.
Hey, Dominic.
I want to give him a shout out later. He did a pretty cool stream in the user group recently. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show. I see Barry, Loman, a lot of Tim's here.
Hey,
Hot Rock, I saw
everyone.
Eric. I see Ram here asking, Jeremiah, I guess it must be your appearance or something, but do you have any family or any relationship to Denmark at all?
No, I don't.
No?
No. At least not that I know of.
That you know?
It's
Yeah,
a
well,
mystery.
It's a mystery, yeah.
no, I guess
Stay tuned for next week.
Yeah.
when we give
The
when we
20
give
research,
Jeremiah
we'll
a
find
DNA
out.
test.
The 23andMe episode.
Yeah, so that's really good. I see Ram also asked, wanting our help to help them out to get their set up for a conference. We're doing a webinar later. We'll talk about that in a little bit later in the show as well when we get to that user group. But you can tune in there and get all the information. We help everybody stream or get started with their first Facebook Live or just streaming in general. So more information about that. I don't want to take too much. That's it for industry news, though, right?
One more thing.
Always jumping the gun.
We always have to talk about Facebook and industry news.
Oh, yeah.
So a few weeks ago on Stream Squad, we mentioned Facebook's goals for 2018, including minimalizing how many business posts and ads were coming through automatically into the timeline, and maximizing what they call personal relationships. So you'll see more of your friends and your family that you interact with, people that you're linked to, is linked as a family member or linked as a relationship, but also live video will be huge on the feed. And a lot of people were wondering kind of what that was. It has now come out that Facebook's user count has actually dropped for the first time. So their reports say that Q4 of 2017, Facebook reported 184 million daily users. Previous to that, in Q3, it was 185 million. So that's the first time Facebook has had that drop. And what most people were saying as why they weren't using Facebook as much were that they felt their newsfeed was very oversaturated. They were getting a lot of just pages they'd liked in the past filling up their newsfeed. They were getting a lot of ads in their newsfeed. Also, some of the topics that have come out lately where people are posting videos with inappropriate or violent content, some of the fake news articles, a lot of people were starting to shy away from Facebook because of that. So Facebook recognized this in Q4. They're putting this into place for Q1 of 2018. I've already seen a difference on my newsfeed so far, but you're getting a lot more of, my best friends, my family members. You're still getting those live videos, but it's rare that I'm seeing ads or news articles now. So Facebook has recognized the issue, and it sounds like they're taking steps to make sure they're going back in the right direction for 2018.
When I saw this headline, it was kind of like, oh man, because everybody expects Facebook's supposed to be doing so well, right? Like they've been right since like 2010. It's always been going up, and it's not really that surprising though, because if you think about it, they're trying to remove a lot of that noise and the things that people weren't really liking in their feed now. So, and I think the number is like 700,000 less. So that crosses the million threshold somewhere in there, but. It's exactly what he said they were going to try to do, was try to reduce the way people are using it, and also I read that their stock price went up, so they're not really hurting because of what happened. It's really just changing the way that they're doing business, and that might be good not to have so much noise out there. People that don't need to be posting.
Yeah, and I always say too, at some point you're gonna run out of people to sign up for Facebook accounts, right?
And it's like active daily users or something, like on average. So it's not like people just deleted their accounts. It's like people are slowing down how they're using it. So they're still there, they're still out there, but they're just, I don't know, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and you also have to look out for, how Facebook's been cracking down on duplicate accounts and fake accounts and everything. So you also have to realize some of those accounts might have been deleted, but they were those random spam accounts that try to friend request people.
Could be.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I know we talked about that, was it last week or a couple weeks ago, where Twitter had a big crackdown and got rid of a ton of accounts.
Huge number drops. But that is it for our industry news.
Yeah, see, awesome comments coming through still. Before we get through, I'm going to give Jimmy a task as we're sitting right here.
Oh, man.
There's a cable right there. Can you plug it in one of those batteries and the camera pointing at you? We're about to.
We're gonna lose me.
We're gonna lose one. And while Jimmy's doing that, Angela, what's up next?
Next is our strategy piece. So we've talked about strategy a lot on the show recently for networking, and a lot of the networking is changing settings, upgrading equipment, all kinds of more advanced topics to get your network to work the way it should. Today we want to kind of backtrack that a little bit and let people know how to get a good network and good speed using the equipment you already have, and how to know if you need to upgrade that. So this actually came out in a USA Today article. I think Dan will be able to link that into the comments. But we wanted to go ahead and go over some of the main points from that article. And again, this isn't just for Switcher Studio or for live video. If you guys are streaming Netflix or playing online games, anything like that, these are things that are going to help your Wi-Fi and your network in general. So the first thing that they mentioned, and this is how you know if you do need any kind of new equipment, is to just make a quick call to your internet service provider and ask them first, is your modem up to date? So a lot of what we talk about is the router, how to set your router, but if your modem's not good, nothing's going to work right. So make sure that your modem's up to date, it's not too old. A lot of times if you're renting this from your internet service provider, they'll trade out a new one for you completely free of charge. If it's one you've bought, a lot of times they have deals if you bring in your old one and take home the new one. but make sure that your modem's up to date. Also confirm with them what your internet speed is. They'll usually run a speed test with you over the phone to make sure that's what you're getting. And a lot of internet service providers offer unlimited data packages. Make sure that you guys get one of those, otherwise you could be at risk of having your speeds throttled. So after you've got that taken care of, the rest is really to worry about your router. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you've got your router on the main floor of your house or building or the top floor. You don't want to put it in a basement. You also want to make sure it's in a central location, and this is just to help the Wi-Fi to spread around. If you've placed it in a corner of your basement or in a closet, it's going to be blocking some of that signal. So you could have a good modem, you could have a good speed, and you're not getting what you're paying for just because of that location error. Another thing to watch out for, especially if you've got a multi-level house or a very large house you're building, is to look into routers that work as mesh networks. So I know we love recommending the Google Wi-Fi router to you guys. That's one of these. And basically it's a series of routers that work as Wi-Fi extenders. You can place them at different areas in your home. They all feed off of one another and they branch out that network. So you've got your Wi-Fi everywhere in your house instead of just in your living room or something. Also, and this is something we do mention, whenever you guys write into us about Wi-Fi issues, any new router is going to have two channels, a 2.5 gigahertz and a 5 gigahertz. Make sure to do that 5 gigahertz. It's the stronger connection. It doesn't get as much interference from baby monitors, aquariums, anything like that. So that's going to help your streaming out a lot as well. And the last thing is make sure you've got a good password on your router. So you can have your internet service provider set one. You can set one. Just make sure you're careful with who you give it to. If your neighbors are using your Wi-Fi, they're going to be draining your bandwidth because they're leeching off that network. Also, if anything inappropriate is done on your network, like illegal downloading, you're the one in trouble for it, not them. So those are just some tips from that article to help you work with what you already have instead of going out and buying a new expansive system.
Yeah, that's one of the big benefits to Switcher, I think, is you don't have to, you can use stuff that you already have, is what we always say, where pull out iPhone out of your pocket and, connect it up and you're good to go. So you don't need all that extra equipment bogging you down or whatnot. Of course, you can also do a crazy setup if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to have like a really good setup and you don't have some of these other things already in place to utilize it, because I think it's the thing a lot of people end up doing is they'll just turn off Wi-Fi or they'll just go directly from their phone and they miss out on the advantages of having a bigger network. So if you've got one, make sure you just go ahead and put these things in place so you can make the best use of it.
Yeah, we do, I think online too, have some settings that we recommend doing or setting up. All that information. We have a lot more like best budget Wi-Fi routers and how to set that stuff up. Talking about the Google Wi-Fi and all of that, we've got it all on our blog posts and on our website. So definitely check that out for more information. Anything else on Wi-Fi? Jeremiah, you got any good tips for getting the most out of network?
No, I don't guess so.
No, I mean,
Pretty much covered all.
yeah, it's pretty much that's a lot of it.
It is nice though to be able to use what you already have instead of having to get out there and purchase a bunch of stuff just to get your stream up and running.
Right.
That is a huge benefit.
Cool. Awesome. Anything else for live video strategy?
That is it. That is our strategy
Excellent.
for today. Again, if you guys have any questions about networking or, setting things up in general, we do have that webinar coming up later today, and you can also email us at support@switcherstudio.com and we'll be happy to help you out.
So I think let's go ahead and move on to our user group. And what we like to do for this is take questions we see a lot come through our user group, and we'll answer one of those questions if we think it's a good one on the show. Try and help people out a little bit and all that. But before we get into a question, maybe Angela, you want to talk a little bit about the user group and how people can get in and some of the things going on with that?
Sure. So this is a user group that we've got on Facebook. It's called Switcher Studio Enthusiasts. We are this close to 1,800 people, so I'm thinking we'll have 1,800 by the end of this week. It's been around for almost a year now. It's growing very rapidly, and it's a great place for other active Switcher Studio users to share tips and tricks for using Switcher, to share videos they've done with Switcher Studio, and also to ask questions. All of the Switcher team is in the user group, and we're happy to help. But a lot of times you'll also get that help and that assistance from other users. So there's 3 ways that you can find the group. The first is just to search Switcher Studio Enthusiast, and it'll come right up. The second way, if you guys are watching this on our Switcher Studio Facebook page, tap on Groups, which is in the menu on the left-hand corner, and that'll take you directly there. And the third way is if you log into your account at switcherstudio.com, there'll be a link inside your user dashboard that says Join the Community. So regardless of which way you've gone in, just hit the Join Group button. There's going to be a short survey to fill out. It just lets us know more about how you're using Switcher Studio, and you'll have immediate access. And that's, again, as Dan said, where we always like to pull one question of the week, and kind of a sneak peek for our last segment, also where we do our Made with Switcher segment.
Before we get into the big question, should we talk about, I know he's in here, I saw him talking in here, Dominic was in here. And he had an awesome post. Again, we always like to emphasize that one of the great benefits of Switcher Studio is not having to have tons of gear. But sometimes you want to do a 9-camera production, have the lights, have tons of audio, run it through a mixer, and all that stuff. And Dominic went out and he
got a haul.
Like, I think the FedEx or UPS driver, whoever it was, said it was one of the biggest deliveries he'd done.
Yeah.
And we were like, you should unbox it all and stream it live. And you know what? He delivered. So I'm going to link that here. If you're not in the group, you might not be able to see this video, but you can, of course, join the group and do it. It's pretty fun, and it was neat to see.
Yeah, and Dominique did a follow-up post after that. So in it, he lists everything that he purchased, so that way you guys can see what he used in case you want to use some of his kit into creating your own. He also mentioned that he based the idea for this kit off of the one that Chris Carson uses. And for those of you guys who are watching Stream Squad in October, November, somewhere around there, we had Chris Carson of Steady Ready on Stream Squad as a guest. He's also done a guest stream on our page. So these are both great guys who are doing larger scale productions. If you guys are interested in doing something larger scale, definitely check out Dominic's live unboxing. Also check out his kit list, and he tells you exactly what was in that giant order.
Yeah, he just commented in and said the deliveries are still coming in, so
Yeah.
Still getting more stuff. Big question though, the Osmo gimbals.
Yes.
The Osmo Mobile 2 just came out. What do we know?
So we have gotten this question a lot. We teased the DJI Osmo Mobile 2 a couple weeks ago in Stream Squad. It just released last week, and a lot of you guys have already purchased them. So what we have discovered is that the Osmo Mobile 2 will not work immediately with Switcher Studio. However, we are in communications with DJI, just as we were for their original mobile, and they're doing an update to their SDK that's going to allow you guys to use the Osmo Mobile 2 with Switcher Studio in the same way. We don't have an exact ETA on this at this time, but the plans are in motion, and of course we'll let you guys know, on this show, on all of our social media pages, as soon as that SDK update is complete, so that way you guys can use the Osmo Mobile 2. For anyone who's not familiar with the Osmo Mobile 2, it takes the good parts of the first one and makes it even better. Instead of a 3 to 4 hour battery life, it's a 15 to 16 hour battery life. The price point's dropped. Instead of $300, it's I want to say $129, something around that.
It's I'm not exactly sure on the price, but I know it's dropped significantly.
It's a lot lighter to carry around. It's a little bit smaller. So it's definitely a great tool. If you guys need something to steady your video, definitely go ahead and get one, and you can start using that, just as a steady gimbal. But for those of you who want that pan and tilt, Right now, continue to use your DJI Osmo Mobile 1, and we'll let you know when the 2 is available.
So, breaking news, again, Dominique said someone has posted in the group this morning saying the Osmo Mobile 2 works as it is out of the box.
Yay, breaking news.
I hope that's true.
Yeah.
I don't, from what we've been told, they need to update some stuff. So it might be buggy, it might work great. I don't know.
Your mileage may vary.
Yeah, I don't have one currently, or we don't have one right now to test out, but I'm sure we'll be getting one soon, and we'll have to, check it out, maybe see if it works.
If anyone watching has one, definitely try to do some tests with it and let us know either as a comment on this video or a comment in the user group your experience. Let us know if it doesn't work, if it works with problems, if it works fabulously, and that'll help us out as well.
Yeah, I see a lot of questions coming through too, just general feature requests and things like that. Something else we do in the user group every week, it's the same day as today, so at 4 p.m. Eastern, so that's about an hour and a half, is that right?
Yeah,
about an hour and a half. Angela and I will be live again through an event in there, and we'll be showing everybody how to use Switcher for the first time and answering any questions we get along the way. So if you're interested to find out more information, or if you're just tuning in or just finding out about Switcher Studio and you think it might be something you want to do, I definitely recommend A, just joining the group in general so you can see all this other good information, and B, we can try and help you out as much as we can through something like a webinar.
Yeah, and for those of you interested in watching the webinar live, just make sure you put in that join request. I'll be going through and approving any pending members in there right before we go live for the webinar, so you guys will be able to go straight to the event and watch it. If you guys request to join after then, we will archive that webinar. So still, once you're approved into the group, you can go to events and you can watch the full webinar then.
Awesome. Okay, moving on. I don't know, do you guys have anything to add to this? I guess I should stay. We're not used to having 4 people on camera.
Full house today.
Yeah.
Jimmy, have you used I know you come from a video background, right? Have you used any of the DJI Osmo stuff?
I've used some of those gimbals before, but the Osmo Mobile, it's mobile's in the name, so it's a little too small for the cameras that I'm usually using. So I'm using like mirrorless DSLM cameras, and even though I've got a pretty compact one, that's still too big for the Osmo body. So I've used other DJI products though. They have the Ronin. I've never used a Ronin before, but there's some other, I can't think of the brand names right now, but they are like on these sticks, but they're really cool. And I mean, I'm not like a DJI fanboy or anything, but it really ups your level of quality when you can kind of just use that like stabilizer. It just makes the shots so much better. There's one, I should send it to you the other day. I was like, are these people using Switcher? And it was a concert that there's a radio station around here that does all the time. And almost the entire video is just that stabilizer. And you can go on forever, and it just looks like you've got this whole like really fluid, organic kind of camera movement. So it's really cool to have those things. So if you're thinking about it, I guess the price point now coming down is going to be like
I know, that's huge.
Yeah.
a really
The price
big
point coming
incentive
down.
for a lot of people to just go ahead and do that. So
Right.
yeah, they're great.
Awesome. Well, I guess with that said, maybe we should hop on over to our Made with Switcher.
Yeah, so again, we mentioned a lot of people will post examples of what they've done in our user group, just with some, clarification of what they were filming, how they decided to do it. Some people will also post footage of what they've done on Instagram or Twitter, and for that they use the hashtag MadeWithSwitcher. Now, we do watch all the videos in the user group, and we do go through the MadeWithSwitcher hashtag, so make sure to mark that, and that'll allow us to see your videos. What we like to do on Stream Squad is to show one example of a video that we enjoyed from the past week, just to show you guys what can be made with Switcher Studio. And this week's Made with Switcher is by Sugar and Crumbs with Nifty Nozzles. So we'll be able to post a link to this entire video for you guys to watch. But this features the main host, Carol. She's a cake decorator. And in this video, she's doing a 3-tier cake that's mermaid themed. So you can watch her start from the beginning. It's about 2 hours long. And you're able to see just how her creations are transforming.
It really, yeah, it's kind of crazy how the cake slowly evolves over time from just a simple dough balls to a
all of
mermaid
that.
cake.
Yeah.
If you see this, you see how the camera looks like it's shaking in and out. That's something that I see a lot with new users, or sometimes happens. That's the autofocus is enabled, and it's a really easy button right at the top of the screen. It says AF for autofocus. If you tap on that, it's going to focus on one thing at a time, and then it's not going to do that popping thing anymore.
Yeah. And that's just happening like as she moves her hand closer to the camera. It's
Yeah, so
changing
it
its
happens
focus.
every once in a while, but I still think is a great production, great job, switching angles, has the pictures up there and all of that, so good job with that video.
And if you guys are interested in making anything like this, she does list all of the ingredients she used plus the recipe for the butterscotch icing that's on the cake. So that way, as you guys are watching these videos she makes, you're able to learn to make kind of your own version. But again, this is sugar and crumbs with nifty nozzles, and they do a lot of great videos like this.
Yeah, I've seen a couple different cool baking shows done with Switcher that are liked. We've talked about Sunbasket before, who's kind of one of those where you can they'll mail you ingredients and tell you how to cook some of them, and they always have a recipe of the week where it's cook along with them, and it's really cool to see that done. And I've even seen like a kid with his parents where they just wanted to do videos together, and they're creating meals, just cooking and streaming it, or just even recording it with Switcher. So really
another good one that was similar to this, Caker's Chat with Juliet Galea. She's very active in our user group as well. She'll do kind of a talk show format on cake decorating and cake making, plus some live demos. So, you know, we have all kinds of genres out there for Switcher, but definitely a lot coming up in the food industry.
And can I interject? If you are making some really high quality, like super awesome productions, in Sunbasket, if you're watching right now, you're going to be hearing from me soon. But I will be reaching out to you personally just to try to get, just tell me a little bit more about your story, and maybe we can feature exactly the work that you do, not only here on Wednesdays with Stream Squad, but maybe just to make kind of a bigger story and let people know what you're doing. So if you're looking for a little more promotion on what you're doing, at least here in the user group, you can go there. But also, we can also take your story just to a broader audience too about what you're doing and how what you're doing with Switcher helps. So if you're interested in that, start leveling up your production value, and then you'll hear from me pretty soon.
Awesome. All right, well, I think that just about does it for Stream Squad this week. Right on time. We try and hit. I see a couple of people talking about the focus there in the comments. Yeah, it's one of those things you don't think about when you first do it, and then you look back and you might think something's really bad, and it's a really easy fix. So just tapping on the AF, where you can go to manual and set it. So there's a bunch of different ways. We've got tutorials and all of that. And of course, if you want more information on that stuff, you can always check out our website, or you can join the user group and watch one of those webinars. We've got tutorials on YouTube. You can really find help just about anywhere.
Yeah, and again, you guys can always email us at support@switcherstudio.com. It's Dan and I heading up that, so you'll be hearing from one of us, you know, pretty quickly after you send that email through. And no matter whether you guys are just thinking about using Switcher Studio or you've been with us for a long time, we're happy to answer your emails and get you guys taken care of.
That is going to do it. Again, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jimmy and Jeremiah, for joining us. Hopefully we'll have these guys around, maybe more on a couple of these shows to talk about what they're doing, give updates on Switcher Studio. All right, everybody. Until next week, take care.
See ya.
So long.